Hello and welcome to another What Is video, and in this one we'll be looking at the Lord of the Rings collectible card game. Living collectible card game, I should say. So what is the Lord of the Rings living card game? Well, it was made by Fantasy Flight Games and was first released in 2011. A living card game is a collectible card game with a core set and expansions, but unlike other collectible card games, where each set is a booster and you play a random selection of cards, an LCG always has a set of non-randomised distribution of cards, so you know what you're going to get when you buy a set. It's a cooperative game set in the initial time frame, 17 years between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And the game's played by up to 4 players, although if you do play with more than 2 players, you need an additional core set to be able to do this. And unlike most games of this type, it can even be played solo. So this is the box it comes in. It's quite a really nice box, nice bit of artwork in the front there. One little back here. The Lord of the Rings, the card game. An adventure and peril in Middle Earth for 1 to 2 players. Nate French. It's a lovely box. We'll have a look on the side. Lovely bit of art. So we'll open it up and have a look what's inside. I already know, of course. It's here, and we'll have a look at the manual. The manual is typical Fantasy Flight Games manual, full colour, lush and lovely. Some cool art. I'm not going to go through the whole manual because it would be pointless, but you know, just got some really lovely. The art in this game is amazing. Who did the art? Let's have a look. Where's the credits? It's at the end, isn't it, on Fantasy Flight Games normally? Yeah, here it is. Oh, yeah, cool. I like this. Those guys now. Anyway, that's that. First one I'm going to look at is this is the first player token. So this just shows who's going to take actions first. Totally just a bit of card, but it looks really cool, doesn't it? Especially here. When I added that. These are the threat dials. You put these together, they're 3 bits of card, 1 main bit here, 2 wheels, and then these bit of plastic. I don't know if I can pull one apart. Don't know if I'll be able to actually. Anyway, the bit of plastic goes through there, and that bit of plastic goes through there. You clip it together so you can spin it around. You have a threat dial here. It'd be good to use this to in SPG actually as some sort of wounds tracker. But then again, you can just download our stat and wound tracker from the main website or the Facebook group. Anyway, again, sidetrack. So there are those. 1 for each player. That's why if you have a 4-player game, you need 2 core sets really, because you need these. These are the resource pool tokens. These are what you're going to get in the resource pool phase, which we'll cover in a bit. And these are what you're going to use. These are your currency in the game. This is what you're going to collect and use to spend to buy different things in the game. And like with all Fantasy Flight things, these are just really well designed. It's just lovely, lush. Look. Well, these are the progress tokens. So you're going to use these to put on location cards and quest cards, little hobbit feet as you explore and stuff. Those. And these are, I guess, damage tokens, wound tokens. Just their little splash of blood, would you say? I think so. I think that's what that's meant to be. One of those. And one thing you can notice when I show you my games is most of my things like this are in bags, just for easy to play. So I can grab this out and play it as quick as possible. So I'll do the same with the cards as well. You can see here, there's 4 decks, and they're each in their own bag. Then you have your encounter deck, and this is the quest card deck, which I thought we'd look at first. These are the quest cards. You get 3 quests in the game. You have the starting quest, which is called Passage Through Mirkwood, which is this one here. So we start off. If you've not worried about spoilers or anything, try not to read the cards, let it be a surprise. But yeah, each quest normally has 3 stages. You have 1A when you flip them, 1B when you complete them, and it sort of actually does tell a story when you're playing this. It kind of, you do feel like you're. It's abstract, I guess, as most card games are, but you can get into it. It feels like you're getting into it. And step 3 has two different branching paths. So you have that. So the first card is Flies and Spiders, and then you go to a fork in the road, which means you can choose to go to a chosen path. So there's both of these are chosen paths, so 3A and 3, well, they're both 3A, but it depends which one you pick. One is Don't Leave the Path, and the other is Beyond's Path. Now I'm assuming that one's going to be the one you're really going to choose. Sounds quite nice, doesn't it? So yeah, so that's that quest. Then there's Escape from Dulgunda. So, and the cards of this are, you don't get a branching path for this. Checking that. The Necromancer's Tower, Through the Caverns, and Out of the Dungeons. And the final quest you get in the starting game is A Journey Along the Anduin, which is To the River, the Anduin Passage, and Ambush on the Shore. So these are the quest cards. These are effectively what you've got to complete, and we'll cover these when we have a look at how to play the game, about what these all mean. But 3 quest cards. I've only ever played the first one, and this is a very difficult game, and I've only beat the first one once. So yeah, that says it all, really, doesn't it? So after that, we've got the encounter deck. Now these are all the nasties you're going to meet. Now each encounter deck you see has a symbol, and then each quest here you'll see has symbols on it. Basically, to form the encounter deck for each quest, you just pull out the cards that match that symbol. So you're not going to necessarily face this evil storm in every quest, which keeps it nice and fresh and unique. The Banks of the Anduin, Brownlands, Despair. What's a Despair? What's this? A Cavern Guardian. It looks a bit like a skeleton to me. Skeleton Warrior. Nazgul of Dol Guldur. Dungeon Jailer. So, I mean, hopefully you can see from this as I'm showing them, the artwork is lovely. It's really nice artwork. I'm not going to go through all this. Cards will be here all night. Evil Storm. Rose. Let's just sort of flip through and get some. So yeah, these are the encounters. Look, that Marsh Adder. That thing was in the instructions. Oh, let's try not to drop them, of course. Warg. Dungeon Jailer again. Most of mine are probably, yeah. What I've done here is on this set, because this is the first adventure, I've got all the cards out ready to play the first adventure and flipped them upside down so I can just quickly gain access to them. So I can play the first adventure really quickly if I want to. But these are the cards I'm most familiar with, being this one I've played the most. Wooded Orcs. In this quest there's lots of spiders and lots of orcs. That is particularly nasty. Yeah, I really like them. Hopefully this will come across when we play it, but I really like the actual feel of this game. I'll talk more about that in the review in a few videos time, but yeah, so that is the encounter deck cards. I thought we'd look at some of the hero decks now. Just pick one that's sort of random. Don't know what these are. So this is the leadership deck. That's the leadership token there. And in this, your heroes for this are going to be camera focus the hero. Come on, camera, you can do it. Yeah, there we go. Aragon, Glorin, and it's made Fear Dread. And so they're your heroes. You get 3 heroes to a deck, and denoted by down the bottom here. Hero, and with a hero deck you can also, with a deck you also get things like allies, all these. These are less random than I was expecting. In events, oh, I don't think we've used the leadership deck in a while. And attachments. So some of the stuff you can get are Guardian of the Citadel here. Faramir is not a hero, he's an ally. Son of Arnor, I kind of want that on a t-shirt. He's an ally. Focus. Not focus. What's this? A Shadowborn Scout. It's an outrider to you and me. Silverlode Archer. You've got all these and different things, different events. Common Cause. So that's the leadership deck. Anyway, and we'll have a look at another one. Willpower deck, I believe. Yeah. Yeah? Willpower deck? Yeah. Did me wrong. Torn up by the symbol. Willpower deck has Eowyn as a hero. Eleanor as a hero, who's a Gondorian noble. It does have made up characters in this game, which is, I quite like them, they're quite cool. And Dunhere, who is a Rohan warrior in this, you'll know him. It's going to be more random because I think I used this deck last, so it's going to have some events. Get my finger out of the way of the artwork so you have a look at the artwork. Will of the West, cool card. Allies, Lorien Guide. Love it, love that. Some events, attachments, power in the earth. Events, not many allies in this style here now. Oh yeah, that's it. All cards, all decks, all of these 4 decks have an ally of Gandalf. So you all have access to Gandalf. Look at him there. Ooh. Oh, that's my impression of Gandalf, apparently. Wandering Took. Look at him. Fool of a Took. Yeah, so that is the Willpower deck. We're going to look at the lore deck next. Yeah, lore deck heroes are Denethor, Glorfindel, and Beravor, Dunedain Ranger. So that's your heroes. So being this lore, it's going to be more knowledge based. So there's a daughter of Nimrodale. Some allies. Oh yeah, that one. It's a cool picture. There's Radagast Cunning. As you expect, this deck's going to be really sort of knowledge based. Secret Paths. I actually haven't looked at this deck before myself. I've never used it. I think lore's going to be that cool, but I might actually use this deck next game. Again, Gandalf in each deck. So the final deck we're going to look at, by process of elimination, is the Tactics deck. And this is going to be your combat deck. So, the heroes for this: Gimli, Legolas, and Farlin. It's a cool dwarf warrior. And this is going to be quite combat heavy, so you got a lot of weapons, a lot of warriors, archers there, spearmen. This is your combat deck. This one I actually normally use. We're obviously playing this 2-player. I normally have combat and willpower. It just seems to be a good deck. Bjorn, hello. Hello. Spears. Like I said, the cards, I said, just looking through the cards, are just glorious. Lovely artwork. You just can't. Sometimes I think games like this are worth getting just for the art, if you're into the subject matter, if you like Lord of the Rings. But yeah, that's what's in the box. I only have this, don't have any expansions, but let's find out how we play it, shall we? Each player will have a deck of up to 50 cards, including up to 3 heroes, which start in play, allies, attachments such as weapons and armour, and events. The core set comes with 4 pre-constructed decks, but deck construction is a large aspect of the game, with players are encouraged to build their own deck. The decks included in the core set are the Leadership deck, the Tactics deck, the Spirit deck, and the Lore deck. The Leadership deck is an all-purpose deck with a mixture of the 3 of the others. The Tactics deck is your combat-heavy deck, suitable for attacking and defending. The Spirit deck is focused on willpower and useful for exploring and questing. The Lore deck is good for keeping your players alive and anticipating threats. Each deck has a symbol that shows which cards belong to each deck, and that is its sphere of influence in game terms. The first thing you'll need to do is pick and shuffle the player decks, first removing the hero cards from the deck and placing them in your play area. The threat level needs to be set, which starts as the total threat cost of each of your heroes. The quest cards are placed near the encounter deck with sequential. The quest cards are then placed near the encounter deck in sequential order, starting with 1A on the top. You'll need to separate all the tokens into groups. I keep mine in bags, as you've seen in the what's in the looking into the box, and so they're ready to play straight away. The player who's going first is given the first player token, and each player draws 6 cards from the top of their deck. The setup instructions are followed on the quest card, and it is then flipped over to the 1B side, and the game can now begin. The game is played over a series of rounds, and each round consists of 7 phases resolved in the following order: 1. Resource, 2. Planning, 3. Questing, 4. Travel, 5. Encounter, 6. Combat, and 7. Refresh. The resource phase has the players gathering supplies, allies, and information. This is done by each player taking 1 resource token and placing it in their hero's resource pool. If you're using the core set decks, each player will only have 1 resource pool to worry about, such as leadership, tactics, spirit, or lore. You will not have to worry about resource matching, as all the cards and decks will form a single sphere of influence. Next, each player draws 1 card from the top of the deck and adds it to their hand. There is no size limit to your hand. Next is the planning phase, in which players can pay for cards in their hand from the tokens in the resources pool. Each card has a cost and a resource type. That cost must be played from the player's matching resource type pool. Tokens can be used for multiple pools as long as the pool type matches. Each card will have instructions on how it is played. If it is an ally card, it can be placed in the player's play area. Attachments attached to another card that is already in play. Each attachment card will inform you what it can get attached to. Next is the Crest Phase, which is split into 3 steps. In the first, the players decide whether to commit characters to the quest. These characters can either be heroes or allies. Once committed, a character is exhausted. Tapped to you Magic the Gathering players. The following step is staging. In this step, the play area is populated with new locations, enemies, and objectives. This happens every round, even if no one committed any characters to the quest. Players reveal cards from the encounter deck equal to the number of players, so for a 2-player game, you take 2, 3 for a 3-player game, etc. The cards are revealed one at a time. If a card has a 1 revealed effect, this is resolved at this stage. Enemy locations and objectives are placed in the staging area. If a treachery card is revealed, the text on the card is resolved and the card is then placed on the encounter deck discard pile. Once all the cards in the encounter deck are gone, the discard pile is then shuffled and a new encounter deck formed. The most important step is the quest resolution step, in which the quest can be advanced and progress made. Each character has a willpower value, and that is used to advance the quest. Each enemy and location has a threat value, and this is used to hinder a character's quest progress. To resolve the quest, each character that is committed to it adds their willpower together, creating a total willpower strength. Next, the threat strength of all enemies and locations in the staging area are added together, creating a total threat strength. The players compare these 2 values together, and if their willpower is greater than the strength, they are successful. If they are the same, they have drawn, and if there are less, they are unsuccessful. If the quest was successful, a number of tokens equal to the difference between the total willpower and the threat values are placed on the quest card. Each quest card has a number of quest points. When the number of tokens on the card matches this value, the quest is complete. Sometimes locations are being explored, which we'll cover in a minute, in which case the location card will be near the quest card, and any tokens that are normally placed on the quest card will be placed here until they match the location's quest points. When that happens, the location has been explored and any remaining tokens earned are placed on the quest card as normal. If the quest was unsuccessful, the player's threat dial is increased by the difference between the total willpower and the threat values. If this threat dial ever reaches 50, that player is immediately eliminated from the game. The 4th phase is the travel phase, and it is the one where players will be able to explore locations. To do this, players choose one location in the staging area and place that location next to the current quest card. There can only be one active location at a time. The card's travel effect is then resolved at this time. The encounter phase is when players confront enemies. This phase has two steps played in the following order: optional engagement and engagement checks. The first step gives each player an opportunity to engage one enemy in the staging area of their choice. The enemy is then moved from that area and placed in their own play area. Once any optional engagement checks have been made, players take turns making engagement checks, starting with the first player. To make this check, the player compares the value on their threat dial to the engagement cost of each enemy still in the staging area. The enemy with the highest engagement cost that is equal to or lower than the player's threat dial engages that player. The enemy is then removed from the staging area and placed in the player's play area. Checks are made in this manner, moving in a clockwise order until there are no enemies remaining in the staging area, or all enemies remaining cannot engage the players. The combat phase is broken down into 3 steps. You deal shadow cards, resolve enemy attacks, and then resolve player attacks. Shadow cards are dealt face down from the encounter deck for each enemy engaged to a player. These are dealt to the first player's enemies first, starting with the enemy with the highest threat value. If the encounter deck is emptied of cards, enemies that have not been dealt any do not receive any shadow cards this round. The cards are then turned face up, and any shadow effects on them are resolved during combat. If the enemy leaves play, its card is discarded at the end of the round, and all shadow cards will also be discarded. To resolve enemy attacks, you first choose an enemy that has not attacked you this round. Next, the player declares defenders from non-exhausted characters, who are then exhausted. The player may also not declare any defenders. The shadow effects dealt earlier are now resolved. Non-shadow effect cards can be ignored. The damage is now determined. If the defender's defense score is equal or greater than the chosen enemy's attack strength, no damage has been taken. Otherwise, subtract the defense strength from the attack strength, and this is the amount of damage the defender suffers. If the attack was undefended, the full damage is assigned to one of the player's heroes. Each enemy the player is engaged to is dealt with in the same manner. This step is then performed by each player in a clockwise manner. Once the enemies have attacked, the players have a chance to attack back, starting with the first player and continuing clockwise. Each player performs the following steps in order for each enemy they are engaged with. First, you declare the target of the attack and the attackers, which must be readied characters. Multiple characters can attack the same enemy. The attack strength is added for each of the attackers. If the attacker's defense is equal to or greater than the attack strength, the defender takes no damage. Otherwise, subtract your attack strength from their defense strength, for the difference is the amount of damage that you deal. You are permitted to declare one attack against each enemy you are engaged with and repeat the steps until all attacks have been done. In the refresh phase, you ready all exhausted cards in play, and each player increases their threat dial by 1. The first player passes the token to the next player in a clockwise order, and the next game round begins. There are several types of expansion, with the deluxe expansions like the core set containing 3 quests and starting a new cycle. These cycles consist of 6 adventure packs, with each pack containing a single adventure, so in total there would be 9 quests. There are also saga expansions which follow the story of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings and introduce a new way of playing called campaign mode, which allows some degree of performance between quests telling the story. There are also standalone scenarios, which are one-off quests released without any player cards. The game is still in print and you can get it core set from many shops including Amazon, and there is a link in the description below, and it costs around £30. It fluctuates around £30. The expansions can be more difficult to get hold of, as some are still in print and some are long out of print. That's what is Lord of the Rings Living Collectible Card Game. We're hoping to play it on the channel and we'll do a review later on in the month. Thanks for watching guys, and until next time, take care. Thanks for watching, we hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button and leave a comment. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Stick with the channel for many great videos to come.